Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome. It's day 4 of our 24 days of tags for 2022. And today we've got beautiful joy and peace with sparkling little poinsettias. I absolutely love poinsettias at this time of the year. And here we've got my favourite reds and golds. These are die cuts. And the ones that I'm going to be using are from Sweet Poppy Stencils. So you get 3 in this set, and we're going to be using the smaller 2 for our flowers on this tag. I'm also going to be using Joy and Peace, which is also from Sweet Poppy Stencils, and this is from their stamp range, and this set is called Joy and Peace. So that's what we're going to need. I've got some gold thread because I thought that matched really well the gold inserts in our poinsettias there. So we are going to get started. Our tag size, as always, is 6.5 centimetres by 12.5 centimetres, and then I've just snipped the corners at 1 centimetre in. If you haven't made your tags, I would suggest you make a batch lot so that you're ready each day. You can see all the dimensions and the way that I cut the corners in days 1 and 2. So you can find all of my tag videos within my Facebook group, which is Karen Telfer Craft Creative Community, or on my YouTube channel. So we are going to use Emperor Red from Elements, but you know what? Any red will do. I'm going to use my smoothie to colour my background, and all we're going to do is I'm just going to, as I said, Emperor Red here. It's a lovely, rich, vibrant red, and I'm just going to cover the entire surface of the card. Now, for this time, you don't need to be too smart, too careful about your blending, because we are going to splatter it. Look, that's how we created all that lovely texture in the background. We're going to splatter it, so it doesn't matter if it's not even. I am keeping this moving in a circular motion still, so that it gives me a bit of an even blend. This is a lovely rich red, but I think, as I say, the new Distress Oxides, what's that called? Plaid. Can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue, but never mind. You'll be shouting it out at home, won't you, to me? Right, so that doesn't need to be super even because we are going to splatter it. Just going to clean my mat here. There we go. The fun bit, I'm going to create a big puddle of water here. And then I'm just going to put my fan brush into the water. And just with loose wrists, I'm just going to create some splatters, quite generous splatters, all over that tag. And I'm just going to let it seep in and dry on its own for a few seconds. That way we will get more depth in the bleached colour. So you can see it, the magic is happening. Now, whilst that's drying off, what you can do is take your die and die cut 3 of each of the sizes. Now, I used vellum. This is quite a lovely thick one, but if you didn't have vellum, you could just use normal card. I've used some lovely sparkly bits here, and I'll show you what that is in a minute, but you could use glitter if you don't have what I've got. Right, so that's given us a nice bit of bleaching colour there. Look at that. And I haven't even dabbed it or dotted it. So I'm just going to let that continue to dry whilst I deal with my flowers. So I've got 3 of the larger, of the middle size, and 3 of the smaller one. And what I'm going to do is this. I've actually done all the others so that you didn't die of boredom while I was doing it. But I'm going to show you how I did. Each one is done exactly the same. So on here, I put all my vellum flowers, and then I put a dollop of glue, a reasonable sized dollop. I'm going to take an old paintbrush, and then I am just going to, I'm going to keep away from the center because that's where we're going to put our beads on the smaller ones. And then for the bigger ones, we're going to set the smaller size into the bigger size. So you actually want that middle space clear. So I'm just going to take my glue and putting my finger in the middle of the flower, I'm just going to paint the petals with my glue. And I do these one at a time. Can't do a job lot because the glue dries really quickly. There we go. And then right next to it, I've got a piece of paper like this. And I'm going to take my iced diamond. I'll talk about that in a second. There you go. And I'm just going to cover my flower. Now look at this gorgeous, gorgeous sparkle here. I love it. This is iced diamond from Pin Flare Crafts, and I use it in my baubles. I use it a lot with my glittery Christmas projects. So there you have your lovely little poinsettia flower. And I'm just going to save this and pop it all back into my tube. And then what I've done is I've done all 6. So I've done 3 large and 3 small. And as you can see, I've tried to keep the sparkle away from the center of my flowers. Now, if you didn't have that same iced diamond, you can use glitter, sequins, tiny beads. All of that will work just as well. I'm just going to slightly bring this back. And then I'm going to pop a tiny, oops, that's probably too much, a tiny blob of glue into the center of my larger flowers. And I'm just going to place the smaller flowers into the center. Pop it down with the back of a paintbrush. Hold it for a second whilst that dries and fixes itself together. It dries pretty quickly because again we're using that same gorgeous cosmic shimmer glue. We're just going to give that a second to dry. Literally a second. Then I'm going to take my glue again and a tiny little blob in the center of our flowers. And then I'm going to use, I've got these gorgeous little gold beads, and I'm just going to pick up an assortment and drop it, oops, drop it into the middle of my flowers. Just need to make sure that they're going to all stick. I don't think I put enough glue in that one. Put a tiny bit more of these gorgeous sparkly beads. So again, for this center, you can use tiny beads, tiny little bits of glitter. So while this is drying, I'm just going to pop them to one side, And I'm going to finish off with my tag. So here, this is lovely and dry now. I am going to take black soot and just darken the edges. There we go. That just frames it a little. Now, just to show you what I did with the ribbon on the back. So here was the first one I made for you. You can see how I've looped the ribbon behind my poinsettias, and I've used this lovely corded ribbon here. Then I recorded my video for you, and here it is. And guess what? It stopped recording partway through. So the third time you are going to have it with a different cord because I've run out of the other one. But this works just the same. So I am going to snip the edge so you've got a nice crisp edge. And what you're going to do, actually, before we do that, we're going to stamp joy and peace at the top. So for that, I am going to use my stamping platform just in case it's a little damp still, because I want my joy and peace to be nice and crisp. So for that, I'm going to use my Nocturne. And I'm just going to stamp the gorgeous sentiment in the corner on my tag. Okay, now I'm going to take my ribbon or my cord or my twine, whatever you've got, and you're just going to loop it. Just allow the ribbon to fall where it wants to fall. You see, I'm not controlling it too much, because what we're going to do is we're going to squish it, pop it here, and let it loop and fall where it needs to. So you're just going to tie reasonably sized loops here. Not worrying too much about the direction. This is not as floppy as the other one. That's okay. We will still, and that's literally what we're going to do. We're just going to allow it to fall like that. I'm just going to grab a piece of double-sided tape . Yes, this is definitely not as floppy as my previous one. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to capture it in the center, just like that. And I'm going to bring this back. There we go. Just snip it off, because I am going to pop my poinsettias over the top of it, so it doesn't, you just want to make sure that you haven't gonna, you just need to make sure that you aren't going to have these edges poking out from beneath the poinsettias. There we go. I'm just going to put this again because it's quite, there you go. That's not going to move anywhere. I quite like that. And now our little poinsettias will be dry. So we're just going to pop these in and around like that. Okay, so like we did on our tag yesterday, let's get the placement right before we glue anything down, the whole placement. So now I have them, I'm going to pick the one that's on the bottom. So we're now going to take one of those, pop it down, and we're just going to put these in place. And then this one's just going to sit on the top like that. So then I'm going to take a piece of cord, it's 30 centimeters long. I'm just going to fold it in half and thread it through the top of my tag. There we go. And because I've landed up with slightly different beads here, I might actually take a couple of these beads and just pop them on my tag. So this is the beauty of my series. Just play. It's about getting your mojo going, having a bit of fun at this rather busy time of the year. So here I'm just going to stick a few beads in and around my tag. So I've loved seeing what you've been creating over the past few days. Please carry on sharing. Please carry on joining me, and I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye for now.